Call the public hearing on the HEC budget to order. Would the clerk please read the notice of the hearing?
Notice is hereby given the County Legislature, County of Herkimer, New York, will meet in the Legislative Chamber, 7 o'clock p.m., 15th day of August, 2012, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the tentative budget of Herkimer County Community College for fiscal year September 1, 2012 to August 31, 2013. Notice is further given, copies of said tentative budget are available at the office of the Legislature, Herkimer County, where they may be procured by any interested persons for business hours.
Anyone wishing to speak, please stand, state your name and address, and I guess we're giving them 5 minutes. All right, I got 3 people signed up. The first one is Robert Drum.
Good evening. I'd like to take some time to bring up an issue that was just talked about, so some of this is in flux. Most of you know the college is no longer broadcasting the meetings on Channel 99, citing a cost issue. As some of my colleagues here know, as a former trustee, I fully respect anything that has to do with cost savings. However, I'd like to point something out. I've spoke to many friends who take the course up there for radio TV broadcasting, and I know some of them would gladly take the opportunity to do that to get field credit. And none of them have ever said that they have had the opportunity to do that. And maybe this is an isolated group, and I fully respect that. As a current student at HCCC, as well as a SUNY SA community college rep, and a member of a few committees on the college, in addition to being the former SUNY SA Director of Community College Affairs, Student Government President, and even a member of the board, this action worries me, and I'll tell you why. Putting politics aside and cost aside, HCCC has given me a chance and opportunity that has opened doors that are never going to be closed, which is one of the reasons I'm here tonight. The reason this worries me is because I feel it goes against the very mission of the college, which states, and the commission is part of who I am because I'm so involved up there. The mission states, the mission of Herkimer County Community College is to serve our learners by providing a high-quality, accessible educational opportunity, and this is the important part, services in response to the needs of the local and regional communities. Recent newspaper articles have shown that there are people who do watch this channel, as well as some legislators being on record saying they have no problem with the recording being aired, and they had many constituents have contacted them about bringing this back on the airwaves. Since I'm a criminal justice major, one of the things that I've learned to do in my time at class is to always check the legal avenues, because that is always most important. After some digging and asking, I was presented with the following. It's McKinley's Consolidated Law of New York, Annotated Currentness, Civil Rights Law, Chapter 6, Article 7, Subsection 74. A civil action cannot be maintained against any person, firm, or corporation for the publication of a fair and true report of any judicial proceeding, legislative proceeding, or any other official proceeding, or for any heading or report which is fair and true head note of the statement published. Since the college has said they do not want to be held liable, which I fully respect, this law clearly states that that would not be the case. There is no legal harm or consequence in broadcasting outside recordings due to the fact that the college cannot be held liable. Now, I do agree with what Mr. Snyder said tonight, that anybody can sue anybody for anything, and that does cost money, and I fully respect that aspect as well. As a person recording the legislative meetings, as many of you know, all I do is, and I'll explain it, all I do is start the tape when the meeting starts and end it when it is over, and piece it together because the camera somehow cuts off after 45 minutes. And when you go into executive session, I add a frame that simply says that. I think this constitutes true and fair reporting of the proceeding. I feel that this is the first time that the college has broke the mission and its core value of community, which states to foster a collaborative campus environment that promotes civility, creativity, diversity, open community, and social responsibility, and takes mutual respect among students, faculty, staff, and the public. I hope and pray this issue gets resolved without much delay and the meetings can be restored to the airwaves so the surrounding county taxpayers can watch. Thank you for your time.
Okay, the next one signed up is Helen Rose.
Thank you. I came to add my voice to the disappointment that the college had ceased to broadcast the meetings. The college taped the May meeting, did not broadcast it. The college did not come and tape the June meeting. There have been attempts to deliver DVD to the college of meetings that have been recorded by the Concerned Citizens Group, and for whatever reason, they didn't reach the people that needed to be reached. Tonight, Dr. Murray coming before the Education Committee, thank you, Mr. Mano, for arranging it. We learned that I believe the primary concern is the case of college liability. We have so many things that can be happening in our community that we could be sued for. I'm sure that within the college, they have had a variety of things that they've been sued or threatened with suits. The Concerned Citizens Group is recording. The college, in recording this because they've not been able to or have not used students to do it, we were told tonight in the neighborhood of $140 is the cost to do that. And then there's additional costs for the broadcast of it. The college has chosen or accepted the challenge to be the PEG, the public education and governmental entity that airs for public access. The college is the one that will make the decision, as was pointed out tonight, whether they want to continue to be that PEG. In the interim, if this legislature is not going to be asking the college to resume recording, I have been asked by the Citizens Group to advocate in their behalf, and that they will be delivering the DVDs to Dr. Murray's office so they can get into the hands of the individual who needs them for broadcasting, not only these main legislative meetings, but the committee meetings. There's a sign out here that the capacity in this room is 31. It would be great to fill it to overflowing, but we have citizens, and we all know it, they're busy and struggling, working and raising their families. They can't come, but they are watching, and we should be held accountable for what goes on. Unfortunately, we will be voting tonight on the college budget. The budget does contain, I would imagine, they built on last year's, and the money was there for the individual to do the recording and the broadcasting. If the college is not going to be doing that, and they've made other decisions within their budget, raises and whatever, I'm not going to support the college budget until I understand fully that they are integrated in our community. And it's a sad commentary that they're not there. I think it was, I had been writing to Dr. Murray for several months. I had a conversation with Dr. Murray in early May and was assured that this was a public service, because I heard that there might be a question about the cost, and I was assured by Dr. Murray that it was a public service. I believe she believes it's a public service also. It's just that we have to put it in the forefront, and I'm hoping that will happen. I hope that this conversation will stimulate further investigation, and we will be able to say that the college is again with the county and that this legislative body will support. In the meantime, there's not really a need for the county to spend the money if the Citizens Group is doing it and the college remains the PEG. When the college ceases to be the PEG, if they chose to do that, then perhaps Time Warner will air it directly. Thank you.
Okay, our last one to sign up is Gary Hartman.
I too would like to speak about the decision to stop broadcasting the meetings by our community college. I do think that they do have an obligation to the community to provide a public service such as that. And this whole liability issue, if you look at the law and talk to any attorney, nothing but a red herring, an excuse to stop airing it. The production costs, I don't know, I heard Mr. Drum, what it takes for him to produce it. I've talked to people that have worked with Time Warner. As far as I know, you pop the tape in there, it runs. I'm not quite sure what that cost is. As far as the actual cost, I was told it cost $13,000 to tape these meetings during the course of the year for the college. If my math is right, which I just did it quite quickly, that's $13,000 out of $25,276,377. That's something like 0.0052% of the budget. I don't think stopping to air them is a major savings. and it's 0.079, 0.079% of the county's contribution. As far as the educational aspect, I do believe we still have a radio, TV broadcasting program up at a college that was well renowned. I would think there'd be educational opportunities there. If the college can't do it, I think we got to get a hold of this peg and somebody's got to do it. Mr. Drum referred to the liability, the lack of liability issue, and the legislature went as far as to specifically grant immunity to anybody that broadcasts at a public meeting. And actually, they specifically grant news organizations that broadcast candidates who at times get a little testy, but they're granted immunity from defamation for that. So this is something that the legislature went out of their way to protect somebody like the college, or if somebody else were to take over, which looks like, I guess, we may have to do in one way or another. As far as the legislators having any say over whether our meetings are taped or broadcast, that the legislator took care of that as well. And Roanne DeStito's on that bill, and we have no say. Anybody can tape and anybody can broadcast, whether any of us like it or not. I would hope that college would reconsider and find that 0.00052% somewhere to continue with that public service, and I wish they would stop using this liability red herring. If there was liability now, before this law was passed granting them specific immunity, how come we weren't concerned about the liability issue over the last 20 or so years? I don't know. It just seems ironic that this popped up when we heard about liability as far as the legislator was concerned. Well, somebody's going to have to broadcast that. The legislator can't tell them they can't, and we're going to find a way to do it.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Yes, Mr. Bullard.
Sure, thank you. Although I can sign up for a few comments. The question of taping the meeting, to me, should be taped. It's been a great service in the past. If you're going to have a citizens group, which is a registered political action committee, do this, that concerns me. That concerns me to the point where we learned tonight that it may be edited. Whoever owns that tape, if it doesn't go through the PEG process, will be able to edit it. The group solicits candidates and supports candidates during election time. Has a website. My question is, how come concerned citizens don't air their meetings? They want to air our meetings, but yet their meetings aren't aired. I find that hypocritical in this. Now, this is not a question and answer. This is a comment period, and these are my comments. We have nothing to hide in this legislature. We work hard. We have committee meetings. Nobody's questioning that. We can talk about that at your meeting, Mr. Russell's, Mr. Mini's meeting, in detail. Maybe we can go through the internet. Maybe we can broadcast live. I would offer that as a possible solution to this. And then there's no liability as far as who owns the tape or if it's gone live. And
all right, we will consider all options.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Russell.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to thank the Board of Trustees and the members of the HCCC community that put together a great budget. They didn't ask us for any more money, and I think they did a really fine job, so I'd just like to commend them.
Yes. And one more speaker, Mr. Brzezinski.
Peter, how many people signed up to talk? 3 people?
The sheet that I got says anybody wishing to speak, state their name and stand up. So you don't really have to sign in. They could have just as easily stood up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody? So I'm saying anybody else who wishes to speak, stand up. If not, I declare this meeting closed.